welcome back once again to the Imaginary Gallery. It is TJ, your host. Now we've moved on to abusive person and addiction, which is very interesting. Once again, reference from Lundy Bancroft's book, Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men, begins with some quotes.
If I could just get him to stop drinking and smoking marijuana, the abuse would stop.
He's completely different when he's drinking. He turns mean.
He stopped drinking, and now he says that I have a problem with alcohol.
I try really hard not to upset him, because when he gets angry, he drinks.
He can be a terror when he doesn't have his marijuana and pills.
He's a lot easier to deal with when he's stoned. The role that alcohol, drugs, and other addictions play in abusiveness has greatly been misunderstood. A majority of abusive people are not addicts, and even those who do abuse things mistreat their partners even when they're not under the influence. Abusive people who succeed in recovering from an addiction continue to abuse their partners, although sometimes there is a short, brief break in their worst behaviors. Physically violent, abusive people sometimes refrain from the violence for what can be a substantial period of time when they get sober, but their psychologically abusive treatment continues later or even worsens. Addiction does not cause partner abuse, and recovery from addiction does not cure partner abuse. Repeat that after me. Addiction does not cause partner abuse, and recovery from addiction does not cure partner abuse. A man's addictions can contribute in important ways to his cruelty or volatility. A drunk or drugged abusive person tends to make its partner's life even more miserable than a sober one does. The trick is to separate fact from fiction, including the myths perpetuated by the abusive person regarding how addiction affects the abusive person and their partner. Not all substance abusers are abusive partners. Part of how we know that the partner abuse is not caused by substances is that many alcoholics and drug addicts are neither mean to nor controlling of their partners. Some alcoholics drink only late at night, or they drink when they're away from the home and return only to pass out. Some become passive and pathetic, not belligerent or domineering. A certain number even may provide fairly responsibly for the families and take good care of their kids, at least during the early years of the addiction. In such cases, the man's substance abuse certainly causes serious problems for the partner and children, but the atmosphere differs sharply from that of a home where a partner abuser lives. And while substance abusers can be male or female, abusive partners are overwhelmingly male. Not all abusive partners are substance abusers. We can further uncouple addiction from partner abuse by observing that a strong majority of partner abusers do not abuse alcohol or drugs or show other signs of addiction. Even if we restrict our discussion to physically violent abusers, Bancroft still finds addiction present less than half of the time, and most researchers report very similar observations. To cut it short, partner abuse and substance abuse are two separate problems, says Bancroft. Both are rampant in today's world, so it isn't any surprise that they often turn up in the same person, along with dandruff, acne, boil, college degree, and many other non-causal factors. Isn't partner abuse itself a kind of addiction? No. Partner abuse has its own causes and dynamics that are not related to addiction. Shares some features. In the last few years, counseling programs have sprung up that claim to address substance addiction and partner abuse at the same time, but they are selling fake, false hopes. A doctor theoretically may be able to develop specialties in both brain surgery and pelvic reconstruction, although it would be very difficult given the complexities involved. But if he or she claims to perform one procedure that can solve a problem in both areas, you shouldn't buy it. The differences between abusing ladies and abusing substances are great enough that they have to be addressed in separate ways. How partner abuse and addiction are similar. Now, the ways in which partner abuse resembles addiction may include the following. Escalation. Alcoholics tend to find that they're drinking more and more amounts, or with increasing frequency, or both. This escalation is caused partly by something called tolerance. That means that the body adapts to the substance so that more is required in order to get the same effect. I can handle my alcohol is essentially a short form of saying, I've been drinking too much for a long time now, so it takes a lot to get me drunk. Some addicts experience the opposite effect, so that smaller and smaller quantities can intoxicate them over time. Substance abuse also escalates for other reasons, which include the addict's increasing fear of having to face the reality, the more time he or she has spent escaping it, and the mounting life problems that the addiction itself has created, which gives the addict more things that it needs to escape from. Partner abuse also tends to escalate, at least for the first few years of the relationship. One of the causes of mounting abuse is that the abusive person gets frustrated by the effects of its own abusiveness, which it then uses as an excuse for more abuse. For example, you may be the partner of an abusive person, and you may become increasingly depressed over time because you're being chronically mistreated, and that can be depressing. And now your partner, gets angry about the ways in which your decreased energy makes you cater to him or her less enthusiastically. Similarly, abuse may diminish your drive for sex, and then it's hurt and enraged about your lack of desire for him, and then it cheats. The concept of tolerance can also be applied to partner abuse, but with different implications. An abusive person adapts to a certain degree of mistreatment of the partner. Its feelings of guilt may nag at him or her less and less, so then it's able to graduate to more serious Glenn Close, boiling the bunny behaviors. He or she becomes accustomed to a level of cruelty or aggression that would have been way out of the question several years earlier. In some cases, the concept of tolerance also applies to the abused lady. When she becomes injured to his or her abusiveness, then he increases his abusiveness because he sees that it takes more and more to frighten the lady or to control her than it used to. This escalation is similar to the style of crowd control used by military dictatorship, which shoots rubber bullets as long as they are adequate to disperse protesters, but switches to live ammunition when the crowd stop running away from the rubber bullets. However, many ladies and their kids respond to the trauma of abuse by becoming easier to frighten rather than harder. A recent study of physical batterers found, for example, that about 1/3 of the men decreased their violence over time because the ladies had become so frightened the men could control them with scary words and glances, making the actual assaults unnecessary. Denial, minimization, and blaming. Addicts and partner abusers share the capacity for convincing themselves they don't have a problem, and for really denying the problems to others. An alcoholic may say that he drank a couple of Frosties on a night when he had 3 40-ounce beers and 2 shots, or insist that alcohol is not a problem for him because he never drinks liquor, although he throws back 2 cases of beer every single weekend. The addict also follows the partner abuser's pattern in externalizing responsibility. In the world of substance abuse treatment, the expression people, places, and things is used to describe the addict's ways of always finding someone or something to blame for the drug use or for the liquor drinking, choosing approving peers. substance abusers prefer to spend their time with others who also abuse substances, or those who at least accept such use of substances and addiction without making any kind of issue of it. And they'll listen sympathetically to the addict's excuses for its behavior. Partner abusers make similar choices regarding their social circle. Their male friends tend to either abuse their own wives or girlfriends, or else make comments about abuse that buy into excuse making and the victim blaming. In research terminology, Bancroft says this is called providing informational support for abuse. Their female friends may be mostly people who will accept their poor me stories about being the victims of hysterical or mentally ill ladies. Lying and manipulating. Both partner abusers and addicts can have chronic problems with lying to cover up their problems, escape accountability, and get others to clean up the messes that they love to make. Partner abusers, however, use dishonesty and manipulation for the additional purposes of gaining power and control over their partners, which is a totally separate dynamic. Lack of predictability. Both partner abusers and substance abusers tend to keep their partners and children walking on eggshells, never knowing what's going to happen or blow up next. This dynamic helps to hook those family members into hoping the monster will change. Defining roles for family members. Both abusive men and addicts can set up family members to be cast in roles that serve the abuse scenario. One person may become the confronter, another may become the protector, and another the scapegoat, whom the abuser uses as a place to lay all the blame for the problems he or she, him or herself, is actually causing to the family. High rates of returning to abuse after periods of apparent change. Both groups have rampant problems with dropping out of treatment programs or with continuing to abuse even after their successful completion of some kind of program. Deep and lasting change comes only through an extended and painstaking series of steps, although the process of change for substance abusers is very different from that of partner abusers.
I am the Narcopath.
Remember when you started to figure out that I had extracurricular activities going on behind the scenes, and you started telling your friends about it? Well, honey, it's important you know now that they were my flying monkeys, as you people call them. I had them convinced that you were mentally unstable. I told them that you constantly accused me of having sex with anyone, from the pizza boy delivery to grocery store clerk. I told them you were losing it, that you're paranoid, you've got problems. And you know what? Every single one of them agreed with me. They figured it was true, because you'd sometimes say things to them indicating you didn't believe the things I said. Bingo, putty in my hand. When I really was messing around with every single one of them and more, and their mother and father, you were the one who looked stupid, because I kept up my act. I told them all that I was innocent, and I've never even looked at another man or woman while I was dating you. Now, of course, it was all a lie, but the important thing is they bought it, and they turned against you. I should be the president. I am so intelligent. Every little negative thing you'd say about me would actually serve to make you look a little bit more unstable. Take that.
As far as social gatherings with you and your family, I know that I didn't discriminate between boys and girls, and that many times when you took me to one of your family picnics or whatever you call them, I would often disappear for hours with men or women. Well, you always suspected the worst, but of course, I'm here to tell you now you were right. I was having sex with all of them. That's what I do. I'm the Narcopath. As I told you, one person, male or female, is never going to be enough for me. I have to just pretend like it is and tell everyone that I'm happy with you, my lover, whether you're a boy or a girl.
I'm never satisfied. That's why I vanished and gave you all that heartache when you accused me of doing things with them. And of course, they would never tell you because
I threatened them and I told them that you would abuse me if they told. They bought it, so you have no one to blame but yourself.
Huh.
Sandy, baby. Someday, when high school is done, someday, some way, our two worlds will be one.
Hi, I'm Sandy Hoaxtard, coming to you live on location in Las Vegas, Nevada. TV5 fake/real news. I thought you should know a few developments that have come up. Clearly, by now, the official story about the Las Vegas shooting is utter BS, exactly as I thought. From what I understand now, there were at least 30 FBI agents that all checked into the Mandalay Bay Hotel 2 days before the shooting. Bingo! So who do you think was in on it? Why do you think the controller made such silence from the sheriff? He's being controlled as I thought. You see, they couldn't reveal the truth because it would implicate the FBI, and that don't mean female body inspector, for those of you who think it does. Fact is, it was a gun-running scam that went bad. The bad guys figured it out, and they held you-know-who hostage, killed him, and killed as many people as they could. I don't want to live in a country that has a government that allows such things to happen. Something needs to be done about them, not about the guns, not about the shooting, because if it wasn't for them, then none of that would have happened, Sandy Hoax. Boston Marathon, fake. 9/11, orchestrated by our own people. Oh, that's disgusting. Please join me in the tirade against these traitors in our country who are trying to scare us. They are trying to terrify us. As far as I'm concerned, the only terrorists in this country are our own government. They want us scared. They want us terrified. They want us to be afraid to go to the movies or to go to our great school, a shopping center, or to an airport, or anywhere a human being goes, or a country concert, or anything. Oh, because we're afraid we might be murdered. Oh dear, and because of that, let's give away our Second Amendment rights, because we're better off without any protection. I don't think so. We need to pass a new law that requires every U.S. citizen to have a mandatory 1+ firearm rule. Every house needs to have its own firearm, and there should be quarterly checks just to make sure we have our guns, because we ain't safe here. We've got to look out for ourselves. Obviously, the people that are supposed to be protecting us aren't doing it. They're more concerned about their own interests, not ours, which means we, the people, have to take initiative and protect ourselves from the tyrannical government that wants to terrify us, so then it can take away more of our rights. We need to take away your freedoms to protect your freedom. I beg your pardon, that is retarded. You think we're gonna fall for that reptilian fool? I don't think so. Join me in the fight against the tyrannical government that would allow innocent people to die for some fuckface's agenda. I don't like that. That ain't American. I don't stand for that. You shouldn't either. Sandy Hoaxtard, live from Las Vegas.
I said, I wonder why you left me. Oh, Sandy, baby. Someday, when high school is done, someday, some way, our two worlds will be one. In heaven, forever, and ever we will be. Oh, please say you'll stay. Oh, Sandy, that's all.
Fuckface's agenda. Fuckface's agenda. Fuckface's agenda. Fuckface's agenda. Fuckface's agenda. Fuckface's agenda. No rats or other animals were harmed during the making of this film.
Are you? What are you? A mouse? A rat?